All right. AI Made Simple Live. I'm Steve Brown. This is a third part in a three-part series on the three stories your AI should be helping you tell. The first story that we talked about was to your customer. Where does your product, your service, fit in the aspirational future of your client? What are they need to see their future successfully with your brand, your service, your product, helping them, serving them, or aligning with their identity, as we discussed. It's really important. And so we covered how AI can help you tell that story really well with visuals, with testimonials, etc. Then the second story that we covered was what's the story for your internal team, your team story? Yeah. And so what is it that they, we have so many people working with us, people have bought in, but how do you align all of the language? How do you align the vocabulary? We discussed how some of my VIP clients are even creating a glossary that they all went through and have the right terms. And so we have this internal language, this lingo that helps bring their tribe together, unify them, and gets everybody rowing to the same point on the horizon. You're building a culture, you're being deliberate about it. And so how AI can help you do that is when the leader does a brain dump and gets all that information and puts it in to the knowledge base, and then the team is using that custom GPT, that AI tool, to write their proposals, to write the follow-up emails, to write content for their website, etc. And it's all aligned and all in this right vocabulary, and it's just unifying, and it creates a culture, it creates a vision. And so the third story, so what's the third story? Three stories. Well, the third story is, what is the AI helping you tell the story for the AI, for the AI search engines? That's your authority story. And that's the story that the AI is, just like we discussed in your culture. There's a culture there if you're not deliberate. That there's a culture in your organization if you're not driving that narrative, if you're not driving that conversation. Well, that's the same thing is happening online. Our people are searching. They're using the AI search engines to return suggestions or insights, and the AI is assembling answers based on what's out there. And so it's telling a story about you, and whether it's deliberate or not on your part, then that's a challenge for you. And so today we're going to talk about how to use AI to drive that story. But first, I want to show you something really interesting. So we've all had snow days recently, many of us. And so sometimes you end up researching or looking at things that you didn't, maybe you didn't think you'd be doing. But when we're talking about the three stories here, the client story, the team story, the authority story. Well, did you know that if you go and you research, you're like, where did our alphabet come from? How did we get to these letters in our alphabet? So if you go do a little research, let's show you how AI search engines work. Okay, so we're going to go look at the evolution of the Hebrew alphabet. And so it's going to bring up, notice how it went out, and it didn't bring me a bunch of links to click on. It brought me an aggregated little brief about the backstory of the evolution of the Hebrew alphabet. And if I zoom in, I'm going to see the evolution of these. So let's go look at the images that it brings up. So here's a great example that we can view here. If I go and click on AI here, so look at this. The AI is gone. It brought that image, it brought it up, and now it's ready to I can select the text and get some more information just on this image, by the way. So you see how AI search results are. You see how fast it was, how impactful, and we got right to the answer we were wanting to know. But if we look at this, here's the three stories that your alphabet's telling you. Did you know that your alphabet has three stories, right? So you have a story, um, have story for the eyes. Then you're going to have the story for your ears. Okay. So it's like, oh, I didn't know that was A. Okay. So they have the story for your eyes, the story for your ears, and then the story for your algorithm. Also, this is kind of interesting too, is that you didn't need to read back in the day. You knew this was the head of a bull. Okay. And so it had symbols and meanings, but it also had a numerical value associated with it. And math is a universal language as well. You can go anywhere in the world, and any culture in the future and in the past, and math was a universal language. This was a universal language. Okay, it was. You'll see this scribbled on cave walls or on clay tablets, but it evolved. So we have an image that represents a value in our head. We have the sound that it makes when we pronounce it. So the Hebrew version of this is Aleph. Okay, so Aleph, that would be the noise or the sound. This is not pronouncing it for me, but that would be the sound that goes in our ear. And then here's the value that represents it. And each of these letters in the Hebrew alphabet represents a number as well. So there's three stories going on in that one thing. And that's why it's important that you think of what we're doing as the same thing applies here as the story in the client's head, the story in your team's head, your culture, and the story in the algorithm. Okay, that universal language that's going on. So you can see all of these all of these letters over over time, they all have a value. Okay, and so that's I thought that was super interesting, but it makes sense why this is necessary and what we're doing. And so today we're going to talk about this right here, is that content for the AI era. You're mastering these three stories, and this today's episode is about authority story. So your core principles, your number one goal is to get cited by AI when someone is doing a search, much like we did a while ago. Wouldn't it be cool that your source, and by the way, this source right here is from someone's Facebook page. Okay, so this is not yeah. So it brought up, it's broken even, but it brought up a relevant answer, and this wasn't a keyword optimized page. Okay, it brought me the answer for this specific, this specific question that I had. And so you need to be using the AI tool, your story engine, your custom GPT, to help you write information that is um, infused in the right structure that the AI search engines will aggregate some comment from your page, your website, your PDF, wherever it is. It'll aggregate a citation from that and then eventually lead people to you. But this is really important. This is the future. It's already happening. And so, when you think about how to frame this information, AI can help you write this so you can get cited. So the key deliverables, we're going to create some AI bait, which is basically FAQ answers. Then we're going to create deep dive blog posts in a particular format from these FAQs. And then we're going to make sure that your internal team has that information. And it all comes from your custom GPT. And so, you're taking these structured facts, you're putting it into the AI, your custom GPT, and it's bringing it and putting it into a format that's for the search, the AI search engines. Now we're writing content for humans in some ways, but we also have to have structured information on your website that is more aligned with the citationable, if that's a vocabulary word, content that can be recommended. And so we want to write for the machine, not the human in this particular way. And so it needs to be structured facts, data density, clear hierarchy, direct language key entities, a machine readable format. And so smart equals simple. And we want, what's cool about using a custom GPT is that, all right, now we're going to write this data for these particular pages. It will automatically, think about it, the robot writes the content in the format that the robot is desiring to see. And so it'll be able to come in and put you in the right place. And so you can use certain information. One of these is like um, an authority formula is like, you've seen this. Most people think that this is the answer, but actually it's this. And then it highlights that value insight. Well, if you have to know how to write this content, but then you also have to know how to write content that connects a story for your customer or your prospect or your avatar, and then you have to write the content for your team. You got to be on your game. You got to be an expert, and that's where this custom GPT is. And all we did was download all of your knowledge. Your leader generally is the person that, in the cases of the VIP clients I work with, I interview them, and we just do a brain dump, and we get this information out of them, and it put it in, and then it can structure. This custom GPT can then produce content in the structure or and the intent that we need. So we need content for the website. We need content for proposal. We need a content for sending answers to the customer that when we're doing installs or whatever that may be. But then you need content in the FAQ section and your blog section that, again, is for the AI search engines. So we like to do FAQs, and we call this an AI bait. And so we're going to set up frequently asked questions. Well, what are those questions? Well, when you do that brain dump and you get your custom GPT, guess what? That custom GPT can generate awesome questions, suggested FAQs, because it's pulling from successful patterns online. You could also go and copy all of the questions or all the comments or all of the reviews from your Google My Business profile, put it in and ask it to generate a FAQ based on those indicators. And then we can take those snack answers, and then we ask it to do, let's get some blogs written, more in-depth blogs on each of those answers. But imagine now your sales team can use the same format and get information that's formatted in a way that supports the sales process. And it keeps everything on your brand consistency. It keeps everybody on the same page. So in this case, we're writing content. We're stopping that content, but we're building a database, and that database is being ingested in the search engines. It's being infused through your website. It's in your custom GPT, and it's something that is extremely powerful and unifying in many ways. And so what did we learn today? This is the third part, this authority story, but you see how it all connects. The same custom GPT helps you nail it on the client story, your team story, your authority story. And so your client can find the information they need immediately about you because you've put it out there. Your team is able to stay on brand and consistent where there's not a disconnect. They use this content and it unifies them, it builds a culture, and then your authority story. Now you're starting to tell the search engines that people are using more and more that what your actual story is, and it's bringing back the accurate story instead of having to go out and write something, anything about you. So if this has been helpful, I'd love for you to like or subscribe, tell your friends. We've got some on roionline.com/linktree. We've got some great, this message makeover coach right here is one of our most popular custom GPTs. It's free. Just click on that and go and help me organize my message. Help me get my message aligned for my customer. Put in whatever your prospect is, avatar, and watch it nail it. It's designed. It's one of our most popular ones. Hey, if you like, all right, Steve, this is something I've been feeling I need to do. I want to work with you. How do you do it? roionline.com/custom GPT. Schedule a strategy session. Just click it and let's get going. Pick a time and let's spend 30 minutes, learn your backstory, see how maybe we can work together. And I got a newsletter. Go check out our newsletter. Sign up for it. We're sending it out to about 20,000 people. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate this time you spend together. I know you got a lot of things going on. But yeah, if I can help you, that's what I do. We've got some great clients. And we help them tell their story more powerful. Steve Brown, ROI Online, AI Made Simple. We'll see you next week. We're going to learn how to do all of this now. We're going to build a custom GPT next week. So subscribe so you get a notification. Don't forget. And I'll show you how to do it. And that's a wrap.